Hi guys, I'm Talisa with Talisa Aquarist, and today I wanted to help answer the question, is a betta fish the right pet for you? If you're thinking about getting a betta fish, or if you had some in the past and you're thinking about getting into the hobby, I hope this video is helpful for you. I personally love betta fish. I have 7. And I've been keeping betta fish for about 6.5 years now, so I'm fairly familiar with their needs. But just a little warning, betta fish can be somewhat dangerous to keep, and I will be addressing that later on in the video, so stick around for that. I just want you guys to be fully aware, informed of what you're getting into before you get a pet betta fish. Now, just a little disclaimer, I won't be going into all the ins and outs of how to care for a betta fish. I'm just wanting to address why a betta fish may or may not be a great pet for you to keep. Alright, so in this video I'm going to go over why all the reasons a betta fish might be the right fish for you, and then when I'm finished with that, I'll get into the reasons why a betta fish might not be the right pet for you. The number one reason why a betta fish might be the right pet for you is they don't take up a lot of space. Like, you don't need a 100-gallon fish tank to keep a betta fish. My biggest tank that I have set up right now for a betta fish is 40 gallons. He would be perfectly happy and content in a 20-gallon though. He does love his 40-gallon. He's like a giant betta and he loves swimming. He takes up the whole tank. However, you can keep them in a 5.5-gallon tank like what I have behind me. You can keep them in a 5.5, a 10-gallon. I wouldn't, you shouldn't keep them in anything smaller than a 3-gallon. I do have a betta fish in a 2.5, but he has a swimming disability. His spine is kind of deformed, so that's why. Most betta fish don't have deformed spines with swimming disabilities, so, make sure you have the space and the resources to have at least a 5.5-gallon tank. But yeah, they don't take up a whole lot of space. And number 2, I love their personality. They interact with you a lot more than some other fish, like a smaller fish. They interact with you, they're colorful, they're flashy. They always come up to the tank to say hi to me, at least most of mine do. So for that reason, I do really like them. And they just have such sassy personalities. They're like sharks in little tiny bodies. It's kind of funny. They always come up to the glass and flare, or just come over and say hi and interact, and they get angry so easily. It's a little comical. So for those reasons, I do really like betta fish. I wouldn't say that a betta fish would be any easier to care for than any other type of fish. Obviously, if you have a giant fish that produces a lot of waste, that's going to be a lot more maintenance than a betta fish. And another reason why the betta fish might be the right pet for you is if you are a busy person and don't want to take a lot of time to spend taking care of pets, this might be the right fish. It does not need a lot of human interaction to be happy. It doesn't take much time to do water changes. They don't need fed every day. If you have your tank set up with a live food web in them, you could feed them every other day, and that would be great. And if you love having a little slice of nature inside your home, then I highly recommend getting a fish tank like this tank behind me. It's just like a little piece of nature, and I love it. I love seeing my fish tanks with all the vibrant green in them. It just helps you bring nature inside your house in a really neat way. You can interact with it. You're the one creating that slice of nature. It's pretty neat. Okay, so now let's get into the reasons why a betta fish might not be the right pet for you. Number 1 reason that I could think of is if you want to go get a betta fish and keep it in a little 1-gallon bowl, just don't, please. Just don't get a fish if that's how you want to keep them. It is fish abuse. Don't keep fish in little bowls. Betta fish need much more swimming space than 1 gallon. Contrary to popular beliefs, betta fish do not live in mud puddles. They need more space than just 1 gallon of water to swim around in. Not to mention, it's extremely difficult to heat a 1-gallon tank. Most heaters are going to overheat that. So please consider getting a 5.5-gallon tank or a 10-gallon tank for your betta fish, or even a 20-gallon long. betta fish love 20-gallon longs. It just gives them that much more space to swim around in. I've kept betta fish in there. They do great in 20-gallon longs. That's honestly my preferable tank size for a betta fish, actually. Another reason why they might not be the greatest pet for you is if you're just wanting a pet that's like cute and cuddly and all fluffy, like a dog or cat or guinea pig or rabbit or something, a betta fish isn't going to be the right pet for you. You can't just pull them out of the water and hold them. I'm sure most of you already know that. But yeah, that might be another reason why you might not appreciate a betta fish. Also, they're not going to be as interactive as a dog or a cat, obviously. You know, they're a fish. They're not as smart as a dog or a cat. So you might not like them for that reason. Also, I am a firm believer in keeping betta fish in a planted aquarium for their health. I think they do best in planted aquariums. So if planting an aquarium scares you, please go check out my other videos. I promise you it's much easier than it looks. People can make it be a lot more complicated, which is fine, but if you don't want a complicated fish tank, I hope my other videos will help you out. Please consider, if you're gonna get a betta fish, please consider planting the tank for the fish. And I would recommend you not add any sharp objects in there or any plastic plants. It will tear their fins. But moving on, another reason why a betta fish might not be the right pet for you, as I mentioned before, is they're somewhat dangerous to keep. They are dangerous in the sense of they are very addictive. So if you like spending a good portion of your salary on fish tanks and fish and maintaining all that, then by all means go get a betta fish. If you do not believe that betta fish are addictive, just take a look at all of the tanks that I have set up just for betta fish. I have a lot of them. 5.5 gallon tank. If you're wanting to set up a tank for betta fish, I would prefer you have plants, like have it this heavily planted. They thrive in it. As you can see, Skipper is quite happy in his tank. The water is yellow like this because of the driftwood. It produces a lot of tannins, which is actually very healthy for the betta fish. I promise you this water is not dirty. And there's this 40-gallon tank that this little spoiled betta fish has all to himself. Yes, I do plan on adding more fish to the tank. I just set it up though, so it's still cycling. And there are these tanks. As you can see, the betta hobby is quite addicting.